Why do people need a mentor? Let's look at that. Whether it is an athlete, so it could be a sports person, a swimmer, a boxer, a business person, a businessman. It could be Steve Jobs, could be Bill Gates. Everybody, every successful person that you know has reached his or her success through the help of mentors. Okay. If you've seen the recent TV show Bandish Bandits, you saw that Ritvik Bhomik, I forgot his name in the TV show, had a mentor who was Nasiruddin Shah. Right now, I'm not going to get into the layers of mentoring about what's the difference between a teacher, coach, mentor. I'm not getting into all of that right now. But understand this, that at a broad level, all of these people had mentors. Why did they need mentors? And where can a mentor help? A mentor can help you identify your gap areas, your blind spots, okay, things that you have no idea about, but they can help you identify. Why? Because they have been in a place where you want to get to. Okay. Now, I'll give you an example. When I was, so let's see who are the earliest mentors I recall. Some mentors I recall right now are from my law school days when I was going for moot court competitions. We used to have someone called a strategist. The strategist wasn't formally a part of the moot court team. Many law schools have that system. So the strategist's role was that of a coach. It was somebody who had earlier been to that moot from that college. And it doesn't matter how the team had performed, but of course, if the team had performed well when they had gone for that moot, then they would be preferred and their mentorship would be very useful. Now, the role of such a mentor was to guide us on dealing with the moot problem around the different issues and performing better at the moot. How did it help me? Since the mentors were my seniors by at least a year or two, okay, and they had done that very same moot before, their inputs, I could really, one is I could bank on their express inputs, that what they told me about how to go about things, okay, because they had seen a little more than what I had seen, right? So I could actually benefit from what they directly told me. Also, a lot of times I was working with them side by side. Like, I'm writing an argument on the memorial and they're reading it. And you would notice that at the time that the submission happens, there is too much pressure on everybody. So the coaches also sit down to help the team completely, right? And at that time, you get the opportunity to see your mentor perform, to see your mentor at work, okay? Now, that's the time where you can really subconsciously pick up their analytical and brain patterns. And I think that I picked up a lot from some of the people who were coaching me in moots. Okay. Then there are other people I can recall whom I did not have a formal mentorship arrangement with, but I did pick up a lot from them. And I wouldn't call them formally as mentors, but it was a learning experience. I'll give you an example. In third year at law school, at NUJS, in third and fourth year, I had interned at AZB in Mumbai office for more than, there were 2 different vacations where I interned there, and it was for about 4 to 6 weeks each time. And every Saturday they used to have a knowledge management meeting. But what was unique about that knowledge management meeting, I've seen a few knowledge management updates and meetings, but what was very unique there was that it was mandatory for the partners to attend back then. And if Sia Modi was there, she would also try to always be there. And I remember that the conversations that you could observe over there every week would basically be at a partner level. So if they say, if there's an associate A1 or A2 who says that, okay, this is the update in the law, you would have a partner asking, or you would have Zia Modi herself asking, how is this going to impact these kind of deals? And the partners would jump into a discussion. The senior associates would listen and observe. And back then, I did not understand all the intricacies, but I could understand how their minds are working, how are they thinking of applying the law. And I think that a lot of the practical application of law and, where people get stuck in the detail, I could follow that from there. In my mooting days, I could follow the levels of depth in which my seniors thought of the arguments that had to be made for the moot. And I found that to be incredibly valuable because subconsciously I picked up those styles. Of course, the other things that you can do with a mentor is we used to practice our speaking for the mood. So they would be able to basically give us coaching and feedback from their experience. That of course was an added, that is the express mentorship, where they're actually telling you that, this is where you're going wrong, this is the mistake, and you need to do this. Now, some of the mentorship is knowledge based. Okay, so they would say, you said this, no, this is wrong. Actually, it has to be like this. Look, this is what the law says. That's one level. Okay, another level is meta. Like, it's beyond the knowledge. It is actually how you think. It could be behavioral, that they could say that, hey, maybe you're giving up too early. You're giving up too early on the goal. You deal with a complex argument and you start to deal with it and you mess it up halfway. Okay. Now, it takes somebody who has been through that journey, exactly like a random person who's very successful. Let's say there's a very successful doctor, okay, who's dealt with these challenges, may not be able to help a lawyer with this. Okay, so you need somebody who's walked the same path as you, who's achieved a higher level of success than you have at that job, to be able to effectively guide you. They can spot your patterns and they can say that, okay, hey, so common things that mentors can tell you, okay, that you're not consistently playing for the big goal in mind. Your big goal is evaporating from thin air. You say one thing today, but if I look at your actions 3 days down the path, your actions are not a match for what you say you want to do. You say you want to get a law firm job in 5th year. You say you want to get a client next month, but look at what you're doing. You're doing nothing. You're just waiting. You're not doing anything to get the client. Okay, so and this is not rude at all, because you put your trust and faith in the mentor. This actually works. Now, the kind of mentor you want usually is somebody who can be that honest with you. What happens is, now people confuse mentors with two things. Okay, one is teachers. Okay, teachers can be great mentors and often are, but the act of teaching itself is not mentorship. Okay, the act of teaching a subject is not itself mentorship. Mentorship involves going beyond to guide people on what their goals are, where they're making mistakes. So if I am coaching you on how to write better, okay, I'm going to see, actually, I'm not going to teach you how to write. And this is some of the things that we saw when we were having trainings for our students, LawSikho students. They get additional trainings. About 4 or 5 sessions are conducted every week to train them how to write better articles. And we saw that we are organizing so many trainings, yet the number of submissions was increasing a little slower. Why? When I looked at the video recordings, we saw that our trainers were focusing on teaching. But teaching writing is not writing itself, right? So we changed the format. What we did is that we started to sit down in that 1 hour and use it as a mentorship hour, where the person who's a faculty is going to speak for 10 minutes, then make you write for 10 minutes, interact with you, again speak for 10 minutes, interact with you for 5 minutes, make you write for 15 minutes. Okay, and coach you on your suggestions. When you ask questions, it's not a question answer. It's basically, we're teaching you, right, choose a topic, choose an art and type a structure for your article so that it can be effective. And what people do a lot of times is that they'll hear the gyan, but they will not be able to apply it. Now that's where the mentoring is needed. That, okay, I said keep your topic specific. What does specific mean? How do you apply it? Now you'll shout out 10 different topics to me, and I would be able to review some of them and say, okay, how about you do this? How about you do this? Some people get personal feedback in that session and the others learn from the personal feedback given. Now that's an example of how someone shifts from teaching to mentoring. Now for a lot of stuff, like some of us feel that, why is the college classroom session boring? Sometimes that happens, right? It's not only because of the teaching method or the syllabus, but also because sometimes we are learning only what is obvious, and we are also just focusing on cramming it up from the book. What about thinking how to solve a problem? What about setting our mind free to solve it? Now that is something that mentorship achieves for you. What are the purposes for which you would need mentorship? Okay, mentorship always exists in the light of a goal, nothing without a goal. So if you say that, I know this senior, he's in my network, he guides me from time to time, that's okay, but that's a loose form of mentorship. You can make it tighter and more specific. what can you make, how can you make it specific? So you can take concrete guidance in terms of a goal. You can say that, okay, I want to work in an IP law firm. If I want to work in an IP law firm and I graduate in 2 years, what do you think I should be focusing on? Okay, if your mentor says, okay, perform a few internships, and you will say, okay, this is my college syllabus, this is what my CV looks like, how do I actually go further? How do I get those internships? I've written so many emails, but I am not able to get to anything. Now the mentor could give you general gyan that, just work on it, present yourself better. Or the mentor could say that, okay, let me see your mails, show me your mails, show me your application, show me your CV. Okay, and then the mentor could say that, I want to see where do you really have the skills to work in an IP law firm. Do you know what to do in an IP law firm? Do you know the work we do every day? And the mentor could say, look, this is the kind of work we've done. Now you got to learn this. Okay, I'm giving you examples of how, mentorship can be used in a very loose way, and it may not always get you concrete results. But when you do use it in a very clear, crisp, tight way, that's when you can actually aim to extract results from it. And one of the key things of being a good mentee is this: you ask good questions, ask deep questions, ask detailed questions, and set a goal. Okay, and follow this up with action. If you have a goal, you ask the right questions and you follow up with action, then you can hope to benefit from mentorship. Now, I told you 3 things that you need to do. So what people usually stop at is finding a mentor. And usually the mentor, if not given any terms of reference, the mentor will just say, okay, ask me your questions, I'll answer. Okay, now basically the ball is back in our court. And what we need to do is tell them, okay, this is what I seek to achieve. And what your goal is has to be specific. Most of us are setting up goals like, I want to get a good job once I graduate. How long is that? 2 years, 3 years, 1 year? I want to build my own independent practice. When? Next 3 months? When? How soon? Okay. Then when you ask a question to a mentor, that makes a lot more sense.